What's up, YouTube? What's up, Twitch chat? Playing through some Esper Oculus first league of the day. Trying out this white splash for some high noons, pest controls, catcher most out of the sideboard. The main deck being predominantly the Dimir shell that we've kind of honed over the last couple months. As well on the sideboard, we've got stuff like Kaito, Jace for the Rise in Esper mid-range. The 2 Harbinger, an extra Stern Scolding to go with the 1 in the main, an Eye Hill Spellbomb. A lot of standard stuff, just really trying out some of these white Haymaker cards for a variety of matchups. I do feel like the white splash, the white sideboard cards have kind of always been like the silver bullet stuff in Modern, since you get access to Rest in Peace, Stony Silence, Wrath of God, Wrath of Skies now. Dogfish, what's up? You beat Orzhov 3 times, 2 living in, Neo forms, lost to Brood-Scale. Yeah, Brood-Scale can be tough for sure. It's another one of those matchups that I think is a little bit better for Oculus, but it's not like some big percentage. I just think it's a lot easier to get a Oculus down. How to describe it? It's a lot easier because you have to just jam. I think that's the best way to describe it. Like, you can't really wait around till turn 5 to Oculus plus Counterspell, but Murktide, I find myself playing a little too passive in the matchup. So round 1 on the play, turn 2 Frog. Unknown opponent. Marsh Flats and throw them off the scent. Perhaps they think I'm Orzhov instead of Dimir or Esper. Belcher. I hardly know her. Classic. Disrupting Shoal. Disrupting Shoal or a Spell Snare. Take a Shoal. Means I'm probably... Two, three. Yeah, I think I'm just attacking in. They're gonna block. We'll discard some dead weight into the Frog. And I think I'm just gonna hard cast an Oculus this turn. Use up like all of my resources, but an Oculus down. I could have kept that one. Oh well. I do have a Disrupting Shoal, so reasonable chance that they're going to be able to counter this. Like, all of their 3-mana lands can hit it. Tank, 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 tank. Disrupting shoal. Gotta love it. Let's see. Looking for counterspell, force. They've got yep. Discard this Oculus, get him for 6. And this does mean if they've got nothing, we have a lethal attack next turn. If this gets through. Might just have a sink into stupor. Counterspell? Nope. Alright, we've done all we can do. You're dead, then we are dead. Opponent has got to sink into stupor, which I assume they do based off of the passing through here. Not even waiting for me to discard the other card. Rude. I think I am going to play out this land. I think the Surveil's worth more than the one counter on the frog here. Sage, what's up? Second whir. I don't have anything that can get the Belcher off the board. I don't have any way to kill them, so group there I think is fine. Signs coming in, Stern Scolding coming in, High Noon coming in. Belcher, Belcher. And Kaito. Certainly like White Splash. It is pretty light. It's got a purpose, but not in love with this hand. Not bad, but it's pretty slow for a hand on the play. And it doesn't play very well into them just like holding up mana. Pedro, what's up? I really need like a Thoughtseize off the top quick. You shall receive. So if we're gonna like Thoughtseize into Spell Snare a 2-drop creature. I don't really care about Tameshi here. I just have to take the Belcher. Or the Disrupting Shoal. Belcher. See if we can get a Murktide down. Feel like Clearing Conqueror would be a good sideboard card. What is the reasoning behind that thought? What matchups? They top deck. Could have top decked a Whir. Pass back. Like, I'm not saying it's not a good sideboard card, just is there a matchup or a series of matchups you're wanting it over what's currently in the sideboard? Stops artifacts, frogs, planeswalkers. Well, I mean, it stops our frogs too, which can be tricky. They've got Wari Disruption, Disrupting Shoal, Tameshi. Recycle this other unearth. I really want 4th land so I can Murktide plus counter. I should have specified. That's on me. So they've got Disrupting Shoal that I know about. I could go for Graveyard Trespasser, eat the Tameshi, or eat the Char Belcher. Or off just playing the Merc. Probably cut Jace or Kaito. Honestly, never liked Jace. Well, for me, it's about not whether I like the card or not. It's about, is it like improving the win percentage in the matchups I want Jace for? And I can say, yes, it has improved the win percentage against like against Esper mid range and Orzhov in the mirror when Jace is resolved. Now we're just like never going to tap off Counterspell. What you got? Tameshi. Replicate once. Fair enough. Replicate once so I can keep Counterspell up. They would have to have like Mystical Dispute, Disrupting Shoal for one. And I'd have Counterspell. So, okay, trade decision there. Don't think I'm changing anything. I'd like to see High Noon in this matchup. Haven't gotten to test it yet. It's an okay hand on the draw. Opponent's on a mulligan. I've got an answer to like a Thunder Trap or an Archaeologist. Suspended Lotus Bloom, Tameshi. Maybe we get to Surveil over something for Unearth. Yeah, a lot of times with sideboard decisions like the Clarion Conqueror versus Jace versus Kaito argument, it just comes down to what your goal is for that slot. Like if you're wanting something for a specific matchup and you feel like Clarion Conqueror gives you a better percentage than Jace, then that's a perfectly good reason to try it out. I would just make sure that if that's the argument, you have a reason to justify it beyond just like, I feel it's better. I think I'm going to consign the ETB. Stop a card draw here. Miss their third land drop. Give me something to unearth. Something to unearth. That's pretty good. Have the land. Don't shock it in. Could have Tameshi, but at least at the moment, I'm assuming they don't have a whir. Can't in good conscience throw away another counter spell. High noon. Threat. Alright. Beck, I'm gonna need you to do a little less demurring and a little more like Boros. Threats. I feel like they've got either a flare or a mystical dispute, but probably a flare. Oh. High noon and a Thoughtseize gone is brutal. Expecting that frog to resolve. Pretty good draw. All right, so let's hop a frog, swing in, see if that gets us anywhere. Nice. Now we can fatal push into stopping a flare. Sure. What do you think about Torpor Orb in the side for this meta? For any specific matchups, just like the Blink decks, or AC coming in with the 11-month resub. Thank you for fighting the good fight. We're just out here trying to survive. Hard out here for a frog in the streets. Welcome back to the Stubscribers. Okay. We're just gonna try to do our best to like overload a heavy return on their side. I kind of want to balance my free counters with the paid counters. The targeting. All right, so they put 2 copies on the counter spell and 3 on the force of negation. So I could force... I could force a copy of Flusterstorm on the counter spell and pay for the other. Hmm. Oh yeah, they do have the snare still. All right, so no paying. Got that snare was on the stack. We did get a Flusterstorm and a snare out of hand. Pretty good for us. Okay. See what we hit. All right, so I could discard Oculus, have up hardcast counterspell, hardcast force. I think I need to respond to this Oculus trigger. Yeah, I only have 2 fetchables left. So if I didn't respond, there's a chance that I could have flipped over both of them. And if that happened, I wouldn't be able to have counterspell and force up. Hans, what's up? Three cards left. Two, three, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So don't have lethal regardless. I love getting the block from the Thunder Trap trainer because it basically turns off flare. Corrupting Shoal is fine. When's the next RCQ for me? I'm playing one on Sunday. I've got a few friends that are going to be in town for it. And they kind of want me to help block for them if possible. So I'll be playing and seeing what happens. 1-0 over Belcher. I think ever since Indy, Belcher has become my my sworn nemesis. On the draw with no lands. Draw with lands. I want to throw back. Why'd you switch over to Esper? Because I felt like playing white sideboard cards. About all there is to it. Thought that they were a little more impactful at the moment, so giving them a shot. Thunder Trap out of here. They've got a Flage. Hopefully we can set up like Trespass or ETB, exile the Flage. They didn't get a red source off of their fetch there. So now they've got Plains, Arena, no second red source. I still live the blue-black struggle life. Is it really the struggle life? Like, it's not perfect, but I feel like we've got reasonable play here and there. Think Harbinger main is too weak. I do, when like Boros is so popular. I don't think it's impactful enough in that matchup. Age in the yard. Blage out of the yard. I'm new to Moto, and do you have a recommended one of these bots that you trade with? Most of my trading goes with goat bots. Probably like a good 80% of the trading I do goes through them. Realistically, it doesn't matter that much. I think I'm going to go for the upkeep fatal push. It's not a dumb question at all. Get this graveyard trespasser flipped in case they've got another Flage. I mean, blue-black decks are the most fun, without a doubt, but you have to put work into every win. You do have to put work into all your wins. No argument there. Personally, I think that that's, like, rewarding at the end of the day. You have to put work into all your wins, but you have the added benefit of, like, when that work pays off, you're able to pick up a lot of W's that you might not otherwise get. Let's thought scour in response, see if we hit like a force. Now, am I forcing? Do I think the Graveyard Glutton is better or worse than the Oculus? Getting to just like shut down Flage completely is pretty solid. It also means if they have a Solitude, then Solitude in the land doesn't get the Glutton off the board. I think I'm going to go for the Force here. Another Tameo. Little unfortunate. It's not the worst in the world. Then completely stop Flage since they can discard it to the ward trigger and immediately escape it. Yeah, but they still have to have something to target the Trespasser, which at the time they didn't have. We'll go ahead and not gonna cycle this here. Do you think I'll cycle it on the end of their turn? That's good. We'll pass turn, upkeep, go for Fatal Push. Siege is down. Going after my face. That's a pretty good draw. You hit you. All right. So do I think playing out the Oculus... Playing out the Oculus would play into a Wrath if they have one more mana. Pass. Right? Flaged yet again. Now I'll play out an Oculus because I have the backup if they do have a Wrath. Tadpole Jackson, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having an awesome afternoon. Appreciate you coming around and hanging out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Also, like, depending on the fetch, they might not have the ability to get a basic. We've already seen multiple planes. Dune plus Wrath. Dune plus Wrath would suck. Snare only deals with Wrath if they don't pay X. As soon as they pay any number for X, then Snare can't hit it. Anytime an X spell is cast, the CMC is X on the stack. I think I'm going to wait on the Unearthed. I'm just going to like keep making them answer a lethal threat every turn if I can. Gotta stop with these flages. Alright, so they're dead here. They kill my token, but I hit them for 5 down to 1. Unearth the Graveyard Trespasser, exile the Flage. Put some respect on Graveyard Trespasser. All 4 Flages exiled. Put some respect on his name. Spellbomb, Kaito, Ketramos, Harbinger, Jace. Is it worth playing in the non-unearthed version of Blue Black, the Trespasser? I know Mattia apparently was running a Trespasser in the side today of just traditional Frog Tide, so I don't think it can be bad. I'm assuming they've got Solitude. Really know what their grave hate looks like. Have Tameo. Pain to keep up with. Really don't want. I'm just gonna board out a frog. I really don't want to keep Fatal Push in, but Tameo and Thunder Trap Trainer means I kind of have to. When's High Noon brought in against Belcher, Storm, any Corey Steel decks, Neo Brand. Yeah, that stuff. Tomato. Their turn. Fatal Push on their upkeep. Play around like Force of Negation. Follow up. Okay, we need a land. Land is the thing we need. Land is the thing that we will hopefully see. I'm just gonna counter this. I know typically like countering the draw spells isn't the greatest plan in the world, but I don't really have anything else going on at the moment. Be like Flage in 3 lands. Little surprised they didn't cycle the flame to go get a white source there. All right. Nihil Spellbomb off the top. Nihil Spellbomb off the top. Not a Nihil Spellbomb. Gonna be the most anticlimactic game. Okay. I think I'm just playing Oculus here. I could hold up Fatal Push for a hasted Flage. So maybe that is better. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Tetramos unfortunately does not block Flage when there's only going to be 5 cards in exile. I would like to get to Tetramos eventually because it does block Flage, but I think right here is the spot. Are we getting the infamous double exert? Dang. Liked it better when they were exerting both of them. Five. Beginning of combat. Fetch. This Surveil. Push with the Surveil trigger on the stack to see if I need to do anything different. Okay. You run Cling in the 75 anywhere? Not the current 75. I think I'm just getting Tetramos down here. The next turn I can like cast Oculus, attack in with the Tetramos, and start trying to gain some life back. So they fetch shock flare. That's 2 cards out of hand, or 2 cards in the yard. Not quite enough for Lage. Please don't bolt me. Yep. Land would have been cool. They're down. Pretty good. Start by gaining our life. A little bit closer to the stability. For this, sure. Players down. Okay. I hope in some capacity we can win this counter war over the Flage. Counter spell, spell snare, double force up. I am hopelessly optimistic. Kind of have to bend whatever they see here, unless it's something like a, I don't know, a tune the narrative. Scary. Lorien revealed to draw 3 cards. Tapped off of all of your blue mana, so doesn't even go to the graveyard. All right, so I could go for the Harbinger here. I don't think I'm going to, because if they did have like Solitude, evoke Solitude on the Harbinger, untap, escape the Flage, that could be really awkward. I don't think I would lose the game, but it would just put like an unnecessary Flage on the board. Yes. They're just putting that in the yard to get the energy. They would have to have evoked Solitude here. And then I get to land Harbinger, shut off the red mana completely. On to game 3. But I do like Cling to Dust quite a bit. Just haven't found room for it in one of the Oculus shells. I usually run 1 or 2 in the traditional shells. But Oculus, the spots just a lot tighter of a list. Really not much room for interpretation in Oculus. Do I board Harbinger in against Boros? I don't. I board it in against Mardu energy, but I don't board it in against Boros. I think it's too easy for them to get basics and play on curve. Dude, please. Same fam. Get it to find so many spots where Kling is just a great card. The one copy is almost always good. Yeah, like, I think it's good. Just in a list like this, your only real flex spots are like the Stern Scolding, third Spell Snare, third Force. And I don't really want Kling over one of those. Ship this back. No pressure. Keeping a bit of a slow one on the draw. Uncertain one. Okay. Blooded Strand pass. I'd like to get a Surveil here if opponent doesn't do anything. But I'll have Spell Snare up if they do. This is like Boros. Esper Goryos. Of a good Elder Scrolls soundtrack. Apparently, opponent does not want their frog getting countered. All right, show me a second land. Second land. Second land. Even take a tapped land. Okay, thought time. Thought Scour to try to spike the land. Or Thought Seize. Try to spike the hand. Could have Force of Negation. I'm gonna go for the Thought Scour. Why is Oculus more played than the Tamio Kaito version? Boros and Prowess. Just more aggressive decks in the current format. Land. Land. Not a land. Land. It's not the greatest land, but it's a land. Okay. They've got a Philagi, Could get a Goryo's here. So late to dinner. I have to top deck a land or a force. Blue source, untap blue source or force. Or Thoughtseize. So good at this game. Okay. Flats is gone. Kept a card on top, always terrifying. Does that mean they hit an ephemerate? Well, we've got this white source for. Okay. Let's play out our land first. Fly the frogs. I want to get in some damage. I want to draw the card more, but I also should fetch up a hallowed fountain before I deal damage. For exactly that reason, if I don't, I run the risk of drawing the hallowed fountain and not being able to play my counter spell this turn. Go ahead. Oh. Bad Goryo's player. Bad. Stop it. I'm not going to tap off of counter spell here. Probably just discarding the second frog and unearthing it. Three cards in hand. We know an Atraxa. We're gazing. Gaze bins. Tainted Indulgence, Force of Negation. What? Is this just a force? Sure. The last card's Atraxa, and they've got a known draw off the top. Still an Atraxa in hand. Think this is Unearth Frog, hold up, shoot. They've got upkeep, otherworldly gaze. They've got some looks at a potential Goryos. Solitude, Prismatic Ending, Polluted Delta in the yard. So blind draw off of the top. So I want to bring in a couple consigns, Kaito, Spellbomb, Jace, Ketchermos, Golding, maybe Harbinger, depends on Harbinger, consigns. I think these are like the four I'm least sure about. The normal stuff. From a push. Not bring in the consigns. It's whether or not I want the Harbingers or like extra push, extra alt scour. Probably fine on the draw. Maybe bring in the Harbingers on the play. Kind of want to see like how aggressively they go for basics. Is my current hand a good keep versus them? It's fine. Like, I've got answers to Frog on the stack, which is more important than answering Frog on the board. I've got a win condition with Kaito. I can answer like a Emperor of Bones. It's a Teferi. Etramos. Ashiok Dream Render. Okay. That doesn't really matter if I keep this on top or not. I assume they're going to Ashiok it away. Like, if you were looking for a better hand, what would you be looking for? Like, what would a better hand look like for you? Or what would you be mulling to 6 to look for that would be worth the risk? Because a lot of times when I'm considering mulligans, it's more like, is it worth going down to 6 to lose a functional hand in order to go for something else? Is that something else worth it? My early threat, then Kaito. I don't think I want to tap out 4 on 4. So, like, if you throw back that hand and you find a hand with an early threat, which is perfectly reasonable, but you find a threat or a hand with an early threat, are you okay keeping a 6 that's like got a threat but doesn't have the interaction? Or a 6 that doesn't have the functional mana? What kind of 6 are you okay with keeping? Because more than likely, if you're mulliganing that hand, you're going to find something that's got like some amount of functionality, but might not have everything. I assume they're going to Ashiok over that Graveyard Trespasser I left on top. But if this is just Prismatic Ending, pay Ward, then I can force the Prismatic Ending, untap, have not quite lethal. I do just have attack with the Graveyard Trespasser, exile this Atraxa. Another Emblem. Back in with both. Graveyard Trespasser exiles the Atraxa, and that is lethal, exactly. Frog counterspell, 1 mana spell, 3 lands would be ideal. Well, like, that argument is kind of, oh, I want to throw away a functional hand to try to hit the absolute nut 6, which the odds of that are fairly low. You're like 42% or something to hit just a frog, let alone frog and a counterspell and another spell and functional mana. So do you want to risk throwing that away? Because, like, if you have to go down to 5, if that 6 isn't ideal and isn't better than the 7, and you go down, and now you're looking at like frog plus 1 piece of interaction if you want functional mana, are you okay with that? And I just don't think that Esper Goryos is a matchup where mulling aggressively to frog is doing a lot of favors for you. There's a pretty good chance they're going to have interaction for the frog, like Prismatic Ending, Solitude, Spell Snare, Stern Scolding, something like that. So more often than not, I'd rather keep like a functional 7 that I can work with than try to go too aggressively for one like very specific hand. Can't mold a frog versus the Fatal Push ending deck. I agree. I agree. What opponent's up to? Okay. Do we think that they are on Amulet, or do we think that they're on some sort of like, what's it called? Pile, Quarry Steel pile. Could be Brood Scale. Could be Affinity. Not affinity. I've been lied to. This means you need you, don't need you, don't need you, don't need you. They don't currently have a Titan next turn. Assume this floats a mana, gets an amulet, is 5 mana available. So I think I'm just playing a Murktide. And go. 6, 7, 8, 13, 14 exactly if I don't die. All I want for Christmas is Titan not to be a deck. I've got bad news for you this holiday season. So versus Goryos, do you not discard aggressively with Frog given their interaction? No, I do not. Like against Goryos, I'm pretty okay just pinging for 1 over and over and over again and eventually winning through card advantage. Got a Vesuva. What'd you like to do with that Vesuva? Hard to put them off Titan with that math anymore since there's always Scape Shift. That's true. That is true. I could have been a little too aggressive and put myself dead to Escape Shift. Soften Smoke. Thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having an awesome afternoon. I mean, they've got Titan mana now. No, they don't have a second green. They have 6 mana, but they don't have second green. Inya Fire, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you as well are having an awesome afternoon. Appreciate you coming around and hanging out. I don't like that double block from them there. I would have just blocked the Psychic Frog with the Construct and not done anything with the Arboreal Grazer. Take the 5. Like, I'm not killing you with double discard, jump the frog. Got trillion mana approximately. Yeah, they might have punted this by blocking with that Grazer. This field. That's another one I keep forgetting about. I base like all of my mana available decisions off of making 2, and Lotus Field kind of throws a loop in that. Aftermath Analyst is what I was afraid of them getting here. So, if they sack the Analyst, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana, 14. But they still have to have a Titan. The Analyst isn't getting them anywhere, and they don't currently have a like Teleria West bounce land. So I'm pretty sure I just let this go. They have a Titan, I'm dead to that. Got another Lotus Field. You've got infinite mana as far as the world is concerned. They have already played a land for turn with Lotus Field. I just have to hope that they don't have double Titan. At least one of them is in the yard. Moment of truth. Titan or not to Titan? That is the question. Yep. We needed more mana. Titan number 1. Do you have Titan number 2? Do not have Titan number 2. Never scoop. Never surrender. Ever know. All right, so I know I want consigns, know I want harbingers, pest control's fine. Trim on some Oculus stuff because of Bajuka Bog. Cut spell snares. Trim on some number of forces, call it a day. Did I see Dak Fade in 07 almost trophied with Frog? I did not, but I'm not surprised. Dak Fade in 07 does play a lot of Modern. Plays some spicy brews. I did see you trophied with a pretty cool Rakdos mid-range list with like Cecil and Ragavan, Nethergoyf, all the fun stuff. This hand loses if I don't see a second land. It's not the most interactive. This is Worlds better. Spelunking, Dismember, Primeval Titan, Lotus Field. Let's take a Spelunking. You'd like to Lotus Field. Isn't Titan the easiest pick? Why? Do I care about the Titan right now with like double counterspell in hand and them being multiple turns off of it? No Dismember. Like, even if they have an Amulet here, they can't Titan this turn. I'm not gonna discard anything to the frog here. I don't want to get caught like discarding. They respond with the Dismember. I can't save the frog. I'll just like let them kill the frog if that's what they're gonna do. Got more amulets. Give me that Dismember. Come on. There's no way you're not casting this Dismember here. I mean, that's probably okay, right? Don't have to do it right now. Pass through. If they wanna, they still don't want to burn this Dismember. They just want to hit lands. I feel like if I can hit a couple land drops here, I've got a very low chance of losing. Cast this. See, we could have thought these to Titan, but who cares? Why be afraid of Titan when they never are actually able to cast it? I guess they could have, but just wanted to play around Counterspell for a while there. So this turn we would start discarding some stuff into the frogs. If they want to use out that Dismember, I can discard a few more dead stuff. Draw an Unearth, that's pretty dead. Yeah, we'll plan on that. We'll plan on Bolt Snap Bolts list right after this, and then get to Sage's list after that. We're up against Zoo. Zoo. Do you have the Chocobo? Try to break up Leyline Scion here. That Stubborn Denial could be a little awkward. Force a negation, sure. Chocobo. They don't have a fetch currently. They're down to a Stubborn Denial and nothing else. I've got a frog. Carry on. Who is pretty good. All right, so I need to need to fatal push on their turn so I can force. I have to force off of the sink. Anything I can do here? Really? Upkeep, force the Kavu or push the Kavu. Dub. I'm gonna force off of the sink into stupor. Kavu down. Please don't top deck anything crazy. I feel like I asked nicely. All right, does this change up what I'm doing? Hurt you like Kavus, here's another. Option number one is play out a 6/6 Murktide, which is decent, but I really don't want to give them filtered draws off this Kavu. So I think I'm just going for the shoot. Man, I really want to attack because I don't think they're going to block. I guess they might just block for free with the Chocobo. Go. No, but if they want to go to Frog v Ragavan, sure. Okay. That could be worse. Marsh Flats is fine. We get a land. Sorry, best I can do is more unearths. Chocobo seems genuinely terrible. I think it's like a flavor of the week thing. Like, I understand the argument if you have Leyline and you get to like play a fetch on one, play your Chocobo, and then like another fetch on two, fetch off your second fetch off the first one, and you're attacking with like a 3/4 Chocobo, one more fetch, and all of a sudden it's a what, 5/6? And like, that's cool. I don't think it's good. Like, Modern has really gotten to the point where you can't afford so many cards that are good like only on turn one, because you're not always going to draw them on turn one, and there's a reasonable chance that they're just going to get like exponentially worse as the game goes on. And then if it is something that you can afford to play that you're not always going to see on turn one, you've got to have like a reason to be okay with seeing it later. Like Ragavan being able to dash, or Tameo plus a couple draw spells or a Flame of Anora to flip immediately. Some of the hasty threats here and there. Like, you're okay seeing those cards later. But Chocobo's the kind of card that, like, if you see it on turn one, you feel pretty decent. But, like, as soon as it gets past turn one, the card's viability just, like, nosedives. Why'd you prefer attacking versus Ragavan there? You mean the turn that they had the Ragavan and the Chocobo? Because if they wanted to like give up the Ragavan to block the Frog, then I could just hard cast a Murktide the next turn. And if they didn't, if they did anything slower than that, or took the hit, I could potentially hit the land, cast the Murktide now, or hold up Counterspell. And that kind of covers like all of their potential outs. Feel like you just want more bodies in Zoo, but don't want too many 2-drops so you can hold up Stub and whatnot more easily, if I had to guess. I think that's a reasonable argument. It's kind of hard to justify anything over just like playing more beatdown threats. Like, you could play more Neshoba Brawlers and just have a more guaranteed higher power attacker than the Chocobo. But if you're wanting to play 1-drops to have Stub available, then like, you already have Wild Nicodle as a potential one. You need like another one? Maybe you do. I don't consider myself a Zoo expert. The last time I played Zoo pretty regularly was before what's it called? Before Leyline of the Guild Pack became a thing. All right, they could have Mystical Dispute. So I'm going to replicate this consign here. I know just casting it once is fine against Stub, but I really don't want to get disputed here. I can afford to play around it. And I think I'm just jamming the Catcher Mouse. It's not the greatest into a ley line binding, but I do have Scour Oculus next turn. Finally closing on a house in 2 weeks. Congratulations. It can be a pretty crazy process. No argument there. All right. Let's think about this. I could scour myself, go up to 7 cards in the yard, play frog, escape a bunch, draw some cards. Or not escape a bunch, but exile a bunch, draw some cards, get Ketchermos online. I think I start with Thought Scour myself regardless. So that could get a Surveil land that gives me exactly 9 cards in the yard to be able to frog. I don't even need 9. I need 7, right? But that lets me frog exactly 3 times. Yeah. Fly the frog. Draw a card. Opponents had enough. Opponents had enough. Oh, love to see it. Nice little trophy there with Esper. Let's see. I think the problem with Frog is it doesn't have ETB draw 3. This fixes that problem. Truth. But fetching takes Delirium away to push Flage. Yeah, but we'd get to see like 4 new cards with Ketchermos. So reasonable chance we might find another fetch land or something in there. So I don't think it's like the biggest concern in the world. If they top deck exactly Arena there and get to Arena Escape of Flage, it's a lot worse for us, but I think we'll take the risk since opponent missed their 4th land drop. So the odds of them top decking exactly Arena are kind of low. Okay, what do we think of the deck? Graveyard Trespasser was A+, the entire league. Ketchermos was A+ when we saw it. Didn't see High Noon. Saw Harbinger, didn't play Harbinger. Ensign was fine. Didn't see Jace. Kaito won us a game against Esper Goryos. Hellbomb fine. Burt good. Oculus good. All like the normal stuff. Spell Snare I seem to remember was good into Belcher. What about the Scolding Mane? I don't know if we saw the Scolding Mane all league. We might have. I honestly can't remember on that one. But the rest of the shell I still think's like I am very, very comfortable with the main deck 60. I think there's room to play with the sideboard if you do want to splash. But I really, really like the proactivity, the consistency, and I feel like I make really good mulligan decisions with the main deck 60. So I'm sticking with that for a while. The sideboard, like I said, testing out the splashes. Ketchermos was really, really good. High Noon, didn't see Pest Control. Saw against Amulet. Got to take out a couple Amulets. The But I still don't think I want this card in the main deck. I think it's just sideboard only for me. So, pretty good there. Just curious why no more considers. Well, considers were always a flex spot. Just couldn't decide what I wanted in that spot. And for me, when you can't decide what you want in a spot, it makes more sense to run a couple extra cantrips to help you find the stuff you do want to see more often. But then I kind of narrowed it down to, oh, I want the 4 Thoughtseize. I want the extra removal spell with the Shoot the Sheriff. I want the main deck Stern Scolding. So I don't really need to cantrip as aggressively into like a Murktide when I know there's cards that I want in the 60 that I'm good with seeing. I also think cantripping or having a higher number of cantrips is really good when you are uncertain of what you're trying to accomplish. So being able to cantrip more gives you more ability to find things after you have an idea what you're looking for. But if you feel like you're comfortable with aggressive mulligans and coming up with a game plan very early into a match, then not having the extra cantrips isn't as necessary.